On the 612th day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was concentrated in these areas. In Zaporizhzhia front, heavy battles are taking place in the Robotyne sector. Today, more information became available over the results of the ongoing battles west of Robotyne and east of Novoprokopivka. As I mentioned in my previous video, here both sides are engaging mechanized units in attempts to improve their tactical position before the rainy season starts and makes it difficult to conduct large-scale operations backed by the armored forces. The Russian army launched a series of armored assaults east of Novoprokopivka with the aim of pushing the Ukrainian forces away from the important heights that are located in this area in order to secure their main line of defense that had begun to be threatened by the frequent Ukrainian attacks throughout the anti-tank ditch. Initially, Russians had success in pushing Ukrainians out of some positions that are built along the tree lines north of the Russian defensive line. However, after days of heavy clashes and artillery duels, it seems that the Russian forces did not manage to establish a solid foothold in this direction, as they were forced to move back. The combined work of the 71st and 46th Brigade of the Ukrainian army caused heavy casualties among the Russian forces during the past few days. FPV drones and artillery forces which fired cluster munition over the newly occupied Russian positions crushed the Russian resistance, leaving heavy casualties and many destroyed equipment in the battlefield. In this video published today by Ukrainian sources, the Ukrainian artillery destroyed an abandoned Russian T-72 tank east of Novoprokopivka. Very close to the tank, we can see two more destroyed Russian armored vehicles, which indicates that the Russian armored units which attacked north were eventually defeated and forced to move back. In the background, the Dragon's Teeth line is clearly visible, which indicates that the Russian troops were forced to once again fall behind their main line of defense. Near Robotyne, heavy battles are taking place on the heights which are located west of this village. Ukrainian and Russian sources confirmed that the Ukrainian army managed to advance in this direction despite some initial losses. Ukrainians captured the first tree line west of Robotyne. After a massive artillery preparation followed by FPV drone strikes, Russian soldiers were forced to leave their positions and retreated westward. Later, Russian sources published footage showing the Ukrainian mechanized unit advancing along this tree line, which indicates that now this area is under Ukrainian control, while battles are still ongoing for the control of the remaining part of the heights west of Robotyne. In Donetsk front, there are ongoing battles in the Avdiivka sector. Russian forces continue their attempts to advance north and southwest of the Ukrainian stronghold, but even during the last 24 hours, they were not able to make any significant advance. As mentioned in my previous videos, the Russian army is now relying more on waves of small infantry units to assault the Ukrainian positions near Stepove and the chemical plant, and while this has somewhat reduced the losses in tanks and armored vehicles, on the other hand the casualties among the Russian soldiers are rising. In a phone call with the US Secretary of Defense, the Ukrainian Minister of Defense Rustem Umerov revealed that so far during their offensive in Avdiivka, the Russian army has lost at least 4,000 soldiers, KIA and wounded. The numbers continue to rise as the Ukrainian artillery uses cluster rounds to target the waves of the Russian infantry forces which are unable to consolidate their control over the newly captured positions. Ukrainian sources informed that the goal of the Russian army remains to break through the Ukrainian defenses north of Avdiivka and capture the area of the chemical plant, which would allow them to block most of the supply lines coming from the direction of Orlivka and also secure fire control over the remaining supply lines in the direction of Sieverne. It seems that the Russian army will continue to put pressure on this direction, as the Russian command likely considers this zone as a weak spot on the Ukrainian defense. On the other hand, Ukrainians continue to strike on the Russian flanks north of Krasnohorivka and west of Pisky, forcing the Russians to start working on reinforcing their current defensive lines and building additional trenches and Dragon's Teeth lines on the rear east of Krasnohorivka and near Pisky. Friends, if you like my daily updates, I kindly ask you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as this will greatly help the channel to reach a wider audience. That's all for today's update. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and have a great day.